All right. So, Herman, here we are again. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning.
Still morning by you and start of the afternoon by us in Italy, at least. So,
Yes.
welcome very much. Welcome back. And so today's subject, we're going to be talking about the use of devices, which is something that I'm pretty much sure that lots of people and a lot of parents will have to learn a little bit more about. I'm sure, and I know that a lot of parents are already looking into this subject because it's something that is touching every one of us, and especially our kids from very close. And it's very much affecting our lives and our lifestyle nowadays since, let's say, 10, 15 years. And we have, I don't know if it's a luck or bad luck or whatever, but you and I and most of the parents online, we have been, we see very much the difference between what was at our time in our youth, because we didn't have any of these devices, and how much these devices has entered the life and everyday life of not only our kids, but also of ourselves. So the theme of today, as I said, use of devices, benefits. So we're going to be talking if this is good or bad. And we have been breaking it down to 4 points so far, and maybe we're going to add something on top of it, which is first point, should smartphones be banned in school? Second point is parents' role in digital upbringing. The third point is pro and cons of parental control apps. And we're going to be just digging a little bit from my experience. Maybe you have experience as well into that, and how to approach their use with children. So how to use the apps and how to approach them and eventually configure them, etc. with the children. And critical use of information. Since we have so much, access to information nowadays, thanks to devices, we're going to talk a little bit also about that. So I would just let you, the mic, and you can start off with the first point. So should smartphones be banned in school? What do you think about it?
Yeah, my opinion is absolutely not. We should not ban smartphones in schools. And the reason is we have to remember that we are preparing the children for their future, not our past. And the times have changed a lot. And there's no way around it that technology, smartphones, laptops, computers, everything, this is the future, and this is just going to get even more into our lives. So in my opinion, we should not ban it, but we should control it, and we should use it and teach it. We should teach children, how to use these tools appropriately and responsibly, because I often hear that the parents say, this should be banned because this interferes with the teaching. And in my opinion, is no, I don't think that's correct. The thing is that we are just teaching the wrong things, because we have to teach those things, how to use those things, and we have to teach them, they all have purpose in the future, and they all are beneficial if we use them correctly. And we have to remember, it's not the devices that are bad. It's always the people and how we use them. So we have to teach the children how to use those devices, because if, let's say that we ban every school in the world, they ban every smartphone and laptop and what's it called?
All devices, yeah.
All devices, they ban them. Do you think that will make children not want to use them? No, we don't. When will they use them? They will use them after school. They will use them, when they graduate from school. And how are they going to use them? Well, they will at least not have any training or help from the school system to use them in a good way. Because we have to remember a lot of things. One of the thing is, for us, our age, the parents, this is new technology. But the definition of new technology is something that's, new in your lifetime. Like, let's take the pencil. The pencil was once a new technology. If that's not new technology for anybody, for our children, this is not a new technology. The internet, the smartphones, they've always been there in their lifetime. So this is not a new technology. But we have to help them in a way that we accept that this is their future, and they have to learn to use it responsibility, with responsibility. Mm-hmm. You would never say that the car is a bad product. Should we ban cars? No, of course not. If you drive and you follow the rules, everything is okay. But you could set yourself in a car and you could drive into a group of people and you could harm them, you could hurt them, you could kill them. Is the car bad? No, it's not the car. It's the way that the people would be using cars if they did this. So how do we use cars? We have rules. You learn how to use them, and we follow those rules. How do we use smart devices? How do we use phones and everything like this? There's no rules. There's never no any training or teaching, and us, the older generation, the parents, the teachers. This is new to us, so we don't know how to, prepare the kids. And the only thing a lot of people, know how to do is to say, let's ban it, because we are afraid of it. And that's not a solution. It is just not the right solution.
I understand that. I agree pretty much, even though if it's a very, very broad subject, this of technology, because I think mainly because it has been so, sudden, the changes that we have been going into. So it has been literally, at my age when I was young, there started being, this Commodore 64 and then 128 and Amiga, etc. But it was a great technology, huge, at that time. But I think that the progress of technology that we got into since, I would say, beginning of 2000, so immediately after the outcome of internet, until now, it's amazing. It's huge and has been impacting hugely the lifestyle. So I understand and I agree with you that we should not ban the devices in schools, but for sure, what we have to set are rules, like you're saying, as we have, for example, for driving a car, as you're saying. And I believe and I feel like what we really miss nowadays are these kind of rules. So we get exactly, immediately to the second point, which is parents' role in digital upbringing. So from my point of view, what we really miss so far, because we ourselves, we are not digital born, kids, or how you call that, the exact name, like, digital, how they call them, the millennials or whatever. Yeah. So I think that the problem for us, because we were not born in this digital technology, is exactly to find the rules. So to navigate within these rules and to set them, first of all, because I see most of the parents, they don't have absolutely any rules. So you see parents, like you're saying, that they are trying to ban and to don't use the phones, because we are aware that as with the car, you can kill people or you can kill yourself. If at 18, I give you a Porsche in the hands, you can kill yourself. Or you can also harm others. Or on the other side, there are parents that they are completely liberal and say, okay, it's part of the community nowadays, it's part of the life of everyone, so let's just leave them digital devices, which I think is also very harmful. And like we probably said a couple of times, I believe very much in life, it's the balance, the critical point, to find your own balance, which is not, yours is not going to be the same as mine, it's not going to be the same as somebody else, but for sure, something in between is the right path. So in Switzerland, you have 120 on the highway. In Italy, you have 130, but it's something, that can fit pretty much everyone. So what would you say about parents and digital upbringing?
Yeah, and that is part of the problem, is, because this is so challenging for us, the parents. But if you read the history, you can see every time in the history of the world, always parents have always seen something new come into the life of the kids that they don't understand, and they're afraid of it, and they don't know how to respond to it. The difference is now is it's more rapid. There's more pace right now. So the challenge for us, the parents, is because we cannot. You can buy a lot of books, to read about upbringing, but not a lot of books have been written about this topic, because a lot of people, when they are, in their upbringing of the children, they always try to look at their upbringing. What did my parents do? We can't do this. What did your parents do when you had a smartphone? You didn't have a smartphone. It didn't exist. So we are inventing a new way in our upbringing. We have to be, on the toes, and we have to look at our upbringing as a job. This is my job. If you get a new job, you get this job and they say, okay, you have to learn this and this software because this is what we need, in what we use in the work. You will sit down and you will learn how to use it, and you will learn how this works, of course. How about in your upbringing? Will you take this seriously? Will you sit down and learn about these things and how does this work, so you can use it as guidance for your children? A lot of people, they just say, oh, I don't understand this. This wasn't when I was young. I don't know. So here's a smartphone. I don't know. That's not responsibility. You would never, dress your child up when it's, just starting going out in the world. You would never dress it up and say, okay, you go outside and play, but, watch out for the cars, but I don't know how to do, use those red lights, green lights, I don't know, You would always prepare the children. When you play, you don't go to the streets. You press here, you wait for the green car, the green light, then you can walk over the street. You teach, the traffic rules, you teach everything, because this is something you know how to do this. And you have to know how to do this in the digital world. You don't have to be expert in all those apps and everything, but you have to use your experience, your knowledge, your common sense that you have gained with your age to tell the children about all of those things. Okay, when you see this and this is happening, this and this could be happening, and this maybe this is wrong. What's you're reading there? This maybe is not true, and teach them responsible, use of those devices.
I agree. Yeah, and it comes down again to responsibility, like in every field of life. But what you mentioned is that it's very quick, this rapid change and technology getting into our lives. What I also think is a very critical point, and many of us realize, is how powerful, because many other things, like you mentioned, pencil, or there is communication devices out of smartphones. When we got the phones in the houses, was also a big revolution, TVs, and a lot of many other things. But I think what we are facing also nowadays is really the power that these tools have, because I don't know, I don't want to say a wrong statement, but I think nothing before that we have been facing as parents, our parents and the parents of their parents, etc., nothing has been so powerful as these devices. And for me, what is really kind of scary when I think about, and I want to be a responsible father, and we want to be responsible parents, it's really that the scariest part is how powerful they are. So I'm really, I'm not struggling, but I want really to focus and try to find and responsibly learn about mobile devices and how to use them appropriately, because I can see, and we know that there are already a lot of damages out there, about this kind of kids, I don't remember the name, how they are called in Japan. So there is a kind of new sickness that has been even named. And so it's so powerful that can really bring to the deep holes in the mind of kids. And I think this about responsible upbringing can also lead us to, for example, know and learn about the devices, even those parents that they are not so technologically friendly, let's say. But one of the things that I found out, for example, is a part of, first of all, when you buy a phone for your children especially, think also about not only the best plan and abonnement that you can get out of the supplier of the connection and how much you're going to spend and all this stuff, but also how to configure the phone, because into the phone there are already a lot of protection tools that they are there, parental controls, for example, that they are there, like on Chrome's or on Safari, on all the browsers, and that you, not that you can, but you must, as a parent, my opinion, you must look into and set them up and configure them, because we can't allow kids we would never allow a child of 7 or 8 years old to walk into a mall center where we know that there are, porn, movie stores, for example, or other kind of stores that they are not, they're not okay for that age. So, and instead we give mobile phones in the hands of kids without having any control, without setting any configuration, and kids, they can literally get into all these, let's call them stores, because they can very easily access even when they don't want to. Yeah. So, and one way I found that you can also control a part of parental control, which is already very, very good tool on each mobile, on each operation system, is also the parental control apps. So do you have any experience in it?
Yeah, and yes, and I just want to say, everything you're talking about there is in my opinion, is true. It's correct. This is what we have to do as the parents. What you are doing, what you're talking about there, is you are creating a digital culture in your family, and that's important, because you cannot expect, just that you don't have any rules, any culture in your family, and then the kid goes to school you know, and they have to learn everything there. The values come from us, the family. How do we use our system, our devices, you know? So the digital culture in the family is really, really important, and that comes from the parents. We set the rules, we set how are we going to use those devices, and we have to be the role model, you know, that the children need. Because absolutely. a lot of parents that I'm talking to, that I'm trying to help with this problem, and they're saying, oh, my kid is doing this and this and this and that. The first thing I always say is, let me see how you use your device. Let me see your Facebook. Let me see everything. How is your presence online, you know? And usually, and almost always, they are not better than the children. Mm-hmm. So we have to be the role model, and we have to make this the culture. And about those parenting apps, it's just totally true what you say, because most of the phones, or I think almost every phone today, they have some you can put a kids mode on it, or you can put some parenting apps. You can close something that they can't see porn and whatever. And for me, because I always try to work in that way, that I want to ban as few things as possible. Of course, you want to close for porn and things like that. But what I like to do more is monitor. Mm-hmm. Because I want to see what are my children doing on the phones, because when I can see where are they, which app are they using, which websites. I can go and find out what are they all about, and I can take the discussion with the children, which is so important. Yeah. Sit down with the child and talk. How do you use your devices? When you're going to this website, what are you doing? What are you feeling when you're seeing this message that you're receiving? You know, take this discussion, because this is what we are lacking, the parents. We never talk to the children about this, what they're doing and how they're feeling. We just say, this is banned. You don't go here, this you can't. We need this discussion, because if you ban something from children, if you say you can't do this, are you sure that they won't just try to sneak into the phone of a friend at school? And
that's usually the first thing they're going to be, you know, trying to do, as every one of us.
So if we have the discussion, and if you can show your children the reason why you should not go there is because this and this and this can happen. Yeah. So they can feel it on themselves. Okay, I don't want to go there because this, which is much more effective than just banning things. So I use those parenting devices to monitor, to see where are my children, you know, going which website, so I can take the discussion, which is much more important than banning, in my opinion.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's also for me. And one other way I'm using the apps is, for example, to not only to monitor in this case, but to limit the usage of certain apps and of the phone, of the device itself. But what I do is to discuss it with my daughter. So I'm not just, you know, entering the app on my device and setting, I want her to don't use more than an hour a day, for example, the device, but I sit with her and I talk through each single app and I say, okay, how much you think you can be using this app, or you need to be using this app per day, and how much this one, and how much this one. And then we come up with a table, let's say, or a limitation that we agreed together upon. And that can be, you know, can vary as well, because we can maybe after 2 weeks realize that that app was she needs more, or that other app she needs less. And that's exactly the same thing that I also do on my laptops, for example, because I have one parental access, let's say, that Katya and I are using, and then April and Dylan, and of course not Axel, he's a little bit too small, but they both have different access, and that's also under parental control, where we can monitor and we can set limits with them, so that they have certain boundaries and they can know that, okay, I have, let's say during the weekend, maybe I can even use 3 hours the computer, but because I want to make this kind of project that it's taking me 1 hour of time, and these other things that is taking me half an hour, and I'm within those limits. And sometimes, you know, now and then they come and they say, my time is over, can you please extend it? And then I have the chance to discuss and understand why is over and what they have been doing during that time, and then from there take on. And I think that's the best way to take things also in the digital world. Yeah.
And this is a great thing that you bring up there, because what are they doing in the computers? Because there's a huge difference about sitting in a computer game where you're just you know, playing with some people, slaughtering people, you know, 12 hours a day, whatever. Yeah. Are they using it creatively? Are they reading books? Because people read books on laptops, and are they creating music? Because there's a lot of music. Are they doing something creative? Are they learning something? Or what is it, how is the usage? Are they using the computer to go into a virtual world where they are forgetting who they are and are pretending they are somebody else? Is it a way to escape? So that is why we need this discussion, why and how are they using those devices?
Exactly.
And another point, because this is so important, because I will always talk about the communication. Always remember that most important thing is the communication between you and the children. So you have to limit the time, not because they're maybe doing something wrong on the device, but you always have to make the time for this human interaction.
Absolutely.
Because that is so important, that the human interaction. Because
Absolutely.
I've worked in the IT business for many years, and I have seen people that are really, really great at IT, but they cannot, the communication, they don't have it. They can't do it, And what happens? Well, we can't use them, because human interaction, communication is the most important things in all of the jobs.
Sure.
You're always working with people and for people. So you have to have that. So that's so important. And as a role model, I've seen cases where they're saying, "Oh, my kids are always on the phone," and when you come, you see how they, how their digital culture is. The digital culture is they come home tired from work. Kids do your homework, and then we eat, and then it's okay that the kids take the phone because daddy needs to work. You're creating that culture. You want peace. You can work. So it's okay if the kids have their phone. And then when you're not going to work, then you're going to rise up and say, "Oh, stop using your phone."
I agree. So before getting to the fourth and last point, I would also say that I would suggest, and I'm pretty sure you're going to agree, that we could maybe, when I'm going to be posting the video, underneath, so below the that you are watching this video right now, even if it's not live, but you're going to be able to read underneath, and we're going to be listing some of the apps for parental controlling. And I would also suggest some of the apps that we have been discovering, we are using also every now and then with my kids, or they are using on their time on the laptop, for as a creative, as something educational. Like there are Epic, for example, there is Khan Academy, there is Jam. There are so many apps and platforms nowadays that they're really great source of information, creativity, and learning. And I think these kind of usage of the computer, of the devices, can be really, really beneficial and can be teaching a lot to kids. And so let's get into quite quickly, because this is something that has been talked a little bit more about, which is critical use of information. So here we are also talking about, a source of information, which is the online world, which is endless. We can really get all kind of information on whatever subject we want. So how to teach kids a critical usage of information?
This is really an important topic right now, because we've never had as many false news as we have today. And this is not just kids, it's like us. We are reading a lot of news that are false. And some people, they have some benefits in creating some false news and spreading them. And never before in the world have we had as much use for critical thinking as right now. Because, like you said, we have a huge information streaming to us through the TV, through the phone, through the computer, all the day. Every day, a lot of information, and it's so important that we have to sit down with children, and we have to talk to them and show them. We have to show them. You go through these things and say, you cannot believe everything you see and you read in the news and in the TV and on your devices. We have to research, and we have to make up our own minds, and we have to say, because one of the things that I have really been I've been worried about for children is there's a huge amount, when we're talking about TV, there's a huge amount of TV programs that's called reality shows. And the kids are watching this as it's the holy truth, and everything that's happening there's truth, when it's all scripted, and take shows like that and sit down and make research and show them. If you Google a little bit, if you search it, you can see that this and this and this is fake. It's not true. It's, we have to show them that a lot of things are fake, so they start to be integrated in their culture, in their way of thinking, that every time you see something, you have to be critical about it, you have to research, and you have to think, could it be that this is fake? Could it be that somebody's trying to get something from me, and cheating or lying, whatever? And just research, because that's one of the great things about the internet. For example, you can make a lot of research. You can read something, and just with a couple of Google searches, you can see, okay, this is not totally correct.
Sure.
Everything that's on the internet is not the holy truth. Everything that comes on the TV is not the holy truth. That's not the way it is. So you always have to be, and this is a culture that we have to establish in our family as well, that we have to establish this, this critical thinking. And every time our children comes home and say, oh, I saw on the internet, blah, 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 this and this happened, we have to respond with, yes, okay, could it be that this is, not true? And could it be that it happened that way? Or could, bring up those, could it be questions, question things, because it's helpful to everybody, not only the kids.
Your advice, I understand, would be to always, or try as much as possible, to sit with kids and research this information and from different sources, for example, and integrate this kind of discussion with them, right? But what about, because I can hear already a lot of parents saying, okay, but I don't have the time to do that, or I don't have the, I can't stay because I have to work, I have to make dishes, I have to clean, whatever, so I don't have the time to sit with kids and stay behind it. So how you teach kids to be critical thinkers?
Well, I don't think that there's any easy way to teach the kids if you don't have time. And for me, it's like, because when I give my lectures and I talk to parents about time, because this is always an issue. Well, you have time for everything that you make. You make your own time. That's just the way it is. And I ask sometimes, I have a lot of audience, and I ask them, oh, did you see this program, or did you see this program on TV? They, oh, yeah, I saw it. And I say, okay, if you have time to watch TV, you have time for the children. And one of the things is, do you sit down and eat dinner together? Can you talk to the children about that? Okay, can we take half an hour after dinner and research this, if this is true, and talk? It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time. But what are you doing with your time when you come home from work? Let's say you work to 4 or 5 o'clock. What do you do with your time? What do you do? Do you say to the children, go into your room and do your homework?
Which we talked about, yeah.
Use that time. Is the school going to control what the children are going to do? I want to teach them about critical learning. So no, you're not going to do your math right now, because I'm going to sit here, I'm going to talk to you, and we're going to use this time. You have to, it's a bit about prioritizing, what is the most important thing for you and your children? It is your communication. It is your communication. It is not your work that you have to do because you didn't have time to do it at work. It's not the homework that kids are sent with home. It's the communication between you and the kids. So my answer would always be, there's no reason to say, I don't have time.
No excuse, yeah.
Always.
I agree. Right, so we have been following, or at least talking about all the topics. Do you have anything to add, Hermann?
Oh, well, if we
had a lot, of course, a lot, but let's keep it just tight.
No, but I would just like to say, just in the end, I would just like to say to parents, my advice is, say, don't look at the devices and then the technology as a bad thing. Look at it as something that you have to learn about, to help your children, to teach them, to train them, because they will be using this in the future. And if you want to prepare your children for the future, teach them a responsible usage of the devices and the technology.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. So it's part of life, and we have to live with it, but we have to leave it, you know, up to us, and to set rules like it was for the car. And I like the analogy that you made before. So like cars, when they arrived, there was no rule, and they were probably driving not faster than 50 at the beginning, so it was not so much rules to be set. But nowadays we have rules in each single country, and the same has to be set also for computer and all the devices. Yeah, I agree, absolutely.
And first, when the cars came, they said the same thing. This is a really dangerous device that will kill everybody.
Absolutely.
This is too dangerous. Everybody has cars today.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Okay, so thank you very much, Hermann, once more. And I invite everyone that has been following this lecture and this talk of Hermann to write eventually any comments or any question you would have to be answered, or you would like to have answered, and we're going to be taking care of it, and Hermann going to be answering for sure personally. And we'll see next week when we're going to be talking about true values, what kids really need to navigate life and be happy human beings. All right, so I wish you a very good week, Hermann, and we talk next week.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.